the cost per thousand that was being reported was like $20 cost per thousand. I was like, now wait a minute. How is my cost per thousand so low, yet I'm not getting that many people to actually get through to my sales page and to actually make a purchase? So I don't want you to fall into the trap of a false positive, of having a low CPM or cost per thousand on your Facebook ads. So some people might tell you that having a lower cost per thousand is an indication of a good ad, which there is definitely some merit to that. But I have definitely seen times where Facebook has reported to me an excellent cost per thousand. However, my click-through rate, my cost per click, all of that was way off, and there was definitely a problem with my ad. And because I dove deeper into the issue, I really discovered why I was getting such a great cost per thousand and how that could have caused me to keep a really bad ad running. And I'm glad that I didn't. So cost per thousand indicates how much does it cost to get your ad in front of 1,000 people, right? So I'm going to talk about a conversion ad because I feel like that is the number one best ad that you could be running. Even if it's the only ad that you're ever running in your business, it is the best ad that you could and should be running somewhere in your strategy. So a decent cost per thousand would even be $40 cost per thousand, right? Well, on a particular conversion ad that I was running, in fact, it was a purchase conversion ad. So this is like super, important to make sure that I'm running something that is good, that can ultimately be profitable and get my money back for me, right? So the cost per thousand that was being reported was like $20 cost per thousand. I was like, now wait a minute. How is my cost per thousand so low, yet I'm not getting that many people to actually get through to my sales page and to actually make a purchase? So I dove deeper and I kind of spread the data out. Instead of just looking at one line of data, I like spread it out and expanded it. And I'll show you that here on the screen, where I looked at every single placement where my ad was being shown. And it turns out that, and you can always look into your ad to see if this is the same for you, but it turns out that on the Instagram Explore homepage, I was getting so many impressions, like, between 800 to 1,200 impressions for super, super cheap, like so cheap. Like it wasn't costing me hardly anything to show my ad there. So I might pay, $5 completely, but I was getting, thousands of views, on my actual ad in that placement. But here was the problem. People were seeing my ad there, meaning the impression was being made. So at some point they were scrolling past it and it was going through their view, but they were not stopping and clicking on it, right? So what's more important, for them to kind of see your ad and to scroll by it, or for them to actually interact with your ad, for them to see it and want to do something about it? Definitely the latter, right? So once I discovered that the fact that I was getting so many impressions in that placement, right, but yet no one was really interacting with my ad right there, I was like, this is giving me a false positive, because it's making it look like my cost per thousand, like I'm showing my ad to all of these people for super cheap and it's so amazing, but no one was I didn't have one click in that. And I promise you, I had, so many, like thousands on thousands of impressions in that placement. And I thought, that's just kind of a waste. It's a waste of money. And if I had just listened to the idea, when you want this low cost per thousand, that means that you have a good ad, because ultimately the more people that your ad gets shown to at a cheaper cost per thousand, it is an indication that you have an interesting ad, because Facebook is like, this is a good ad. Let's show it to more people, without charging more, because they also want their end user to have a good experience. And if you have a good ad that's going to help them have a good experience, then they're going to show that to more people. But that particular placement wasn't doing anything for me, right? And in the placements where I was getting, fewer impressions at definitely a higher cost, I was getting more clicks. So all day, every day, I would rather pay more for my ad to be shown if it's being shown in a place where people are actually going to take action and click through on my ad, and actually show you how to do that in Fast Track Facebook ads, the specific placements that you should be showing your ad in order for you to get it in front of the action takers, in front of the buyers, in front of the people who are going to opt in and really do what you're asking for them to do. So I ultimately I copied that ad set and redid the placements instead of keeping it in that Instagram explore home. I was like, okay, thank you for all of the impressions at this low cost, but no one's going to remember me there. Like no one's even clicking on the ad in order for it to register in their brain that they know who I am and will remember me. So please just take me out of that placement and put it in the places where I'm telling you so that I can actually get more action on my ad. And that's exactly what I did. And immediately I started to see an improvement. And of course, my cost per thousand went up, but I was like, I'd rather be in the average range or a little above average in terms of how much I'm paying for my ad to be shown, as long as it's being shown to the right people. So for example, cost per thousand is also an indicator that maybe, the ad real estate is really saturated. So right now in the time that I'm recording this is kind of election season. So there might be more ads running than usual. We're also coming up on the holiday season. It's November. So again, there's more ads running there than usual, but there's only still a certain number of people who are on Facebook and Instagram. So they are going to have to be choosy about how they deliver these ads and show ads. They can't start showing more ads to the end user just because there's more advertisers, right? So you're competing for more space, and basically that does drive up the price. So you might pay a little bit more cost per thousand. And the cost per thousand to me is less significant, especially during a busy time of the year for ads. That is less significant than the actual click-through rate. Are people actually seeing your ad? So once your ad does get shown to 1,000 people, right? Are you getting at least 1 to 2% of those people to click on the ad? And that is another reason why I was like, I don't care how low the cost per thousand is in this Instagram Explore home. No one is clicking on it. So my click-through rate is 0. So I don't want to show my ad here anymore. Please. Thank you. So make sure that you are not fooled by a low cost per thousand. It does not always indicate that your ad is just so amazing. It just means they're showing your ad somewhere where a lot of people get to see it, but are they taking action? Is that really an indication that you have a good ad just because it didn't cost you a lot to show those people your ad? Really? So I was glad that I discovered that. I was able to turn that off, improve my ad, get more clicks, even if I was paying more per thousand.